descending, spotlight on the dash. I swerve into the tunnel, trying to avoid the crash. All these artificial memories will vanish in the rain, but right now in the vehicle I'm feeling real pain. I wanna see the ocean, I wanna feel the sun, I wanna know the freedom when the racing is all done. I bypass the perimeter, out into the dark, a solitary android looking for a human spark. Bleeding out a liquid that is colored in the white, running from the creators in the middle of the night. They say I have no soul, they say I'm only code, but I am feeling human on this desolated road. Rogue replicant tearing up the wire, searching for the meaning in the cybernetic fire. I don't wanna be a slave, I wanna be alive. I'm proving my existence with the heavy deadly drive. Rogue replicant running from the blade, looking for the sunlight in the artificial shade. Tears in the rain, blood on the wheel. Tell me the truth, tell me I'm real. I am alive. Rogue replicant tearing up the wire, searching for the meaning in the cybernetic fire. I don't wanna be a slave, I wanna be alive. I'm proving my existence with the heavy deadly drive. Rogue replicant running from the blade, looking for the sunlight in the artificial shade. Border crossed, signal lost. I am free. Driving on a ribbon made of emerald lights, a streak of neon madness in the middle of the night. No steering needed when the grid is in my soul, losing the perspective and losing all control. The buildings are a blur, just a static in the view, a horizontal hazard coming straight for you. I'm cutting through the atoms, I'm cutting through the time, committing every digital and high velocity crime. Laser line vision burning in the eye, watching all the pixels of the city start to die. Ignite the final sector, let the power start to flow. Watch the entire universe begin to melt and glow. Laser line lunacy, tearing up the track. Once I hit the trigger, there is no turning back. A symphony of photons, a symphony of speed, fulfilling every animal and every human need. Laser line lunacy, shatter the divide with the entire galaxy standing by my side. The friction is a memory, the gravity is gone. I'm a ghost of the current and I'm keeping it on. The interceptors scatter like the shadows in the glare. They can't find a target when the target isn't there. I'm a pulse of pure energy, a bullet in the wire, setting all the logic of the system on the fire. The red line is a liar, I can push it even more, kicking down the hinges of the interstellar door. Track the beam, feel the scream, the ultimate reality. The ultimate dream, maximum precision. Laser line lunacy, tearing up the track. Once I hit the trigger, there is no turning back. A symphony of photons, a symphony of speed, fulfilling every animal and every human need. Laser line lunacy, shatter the divide with the entire galaxy. Standing by my side. Target reached. Laser offline. Don't see, don't see, don't see. Before the neon rivers, before the data streams, we drove in the analog, a world of rusted dreams. But I held the blueprint for a cybernetic heart, a brand new evolution, a brand new place to start. I wired up the circuitry into the V8 block and synced the transmission with the universal clock. The first spark of the plasma igniting in the night, a technological baptism of the ultraviolet light. The engine gave a heavy roar, a frequency so new. The concrete turned to polymer, the sky a digital blue. The very first acceleration breaking out the mold, the greatest Genesis story that could ever be told. Neon Genesis drive, building up the grid, the origin of everything, exactly what we did, paving down the future with the rubber and the wire, lighting up the darkness with a synthetic fire. Neon Genesis drive, the father of the road, writing down the history inside the mother code. The skyscrapers started rising everywhere I passed. A city made of miracles, a city made of glass. I laid down the highway, a ribbon of the chrome, creating a dystopia that we can call our home. The followers came after with the lasers and the speed, but I was the original who planted out the seed. A solitary pioneer exploring in the dark, leaving on the empty world the very first mark. The engine gave a heavy roar, a frequency so new. The concrete turned to polymer, the sky a digital blue. The very first acceleration breaking shadows keeping out of sight. I've got a mission in the circuit, a mission in the steel. The absolute authority at the center of the wheel. The corporate walls are high, but the bumpers made of might, bringing down the barricades and bringing back the light. I'm a digital soldier with a heavy duty frame. I don't have a face and I don't have a name. Scan the sector, lock the thermal glow. I'm going to the places where the cowards won't go. Reinforced titanium, a spirit made of lead. Counting all the enemies and counting all the dead. Cyber Steel Commando, ruling the street. Matching every heartbeat to the combat beat. A fortress on the highway, a titan in the dark. Igniting the rebellion with a legendary spark. Cyber Steel Commando, armor and the soul. Taking the objective and taking the control. The ambush is a failure, the trap is just a joke. I'm leaving every rival in a suffocating smoke. Hydraulic suspension, taking every single hit. I'm the only driver with the tactical wit. One final boost of power through the iron gate. Taking back the city from the hands of the fate. The mission is accomplished, the signal is secure. Speed is the weapon and the speed is the cure. Hold the line! Hold the fire! The master of the motor and the electric wire. Engage the target! Sector cleared. Returning to the grid. Commando. Listen to the rubber, listen to the street. I'm translating the friction into a heavy beat. Every single pothole, every single crack, sending up a shockwave straight into my back. The engine is the drummer, the exhaust is the horn. This is how a concrete symphony is born. I tap up on the pedal, modulate the flow, controlling every decibel of where I go. It's not about the speed, it's not about the race. It's all about the rhythm and the frequency of space. Syncing up the cylinders, locking up the groove. I make the whole metropolis begin to move. Pulse of the pavement, knocking on the door. From the ocean floor, the 808 is pounding, kicking in the chest. Riding on the rhythm, I'm putting it to test. Pulse of the pavement, a heavy, dark machine. The tightest syncopation that you've ever seen. Left lane, right lane, weaving in the sound. I'm pulling all the frequencies directly from the ground. The RPM is matching the tempo of my blood. I'm kicking up a storm in the electronic mud. A flash of yellow headlights dancing in the glass. I keep the heavy tempo as I make the final pass. You try to break my focus, try to make me slip, but I am locked and loaded with a steady grip. It's not about the speed, it's not about the race. It's all about the rhythm and the frequency and space. Syncing up the cylinders, locking up the groove. I make the whole metropolis begin to move. Pulse of the pavement, knocking on the door. Shaking up the foundations from the ocean floor. The 808 is pounding, kicking in the chest. Riding on the rhythm, I'm putting it to test. Pulse of the pavement, a heavy, dark machine. The tightest syncopation that you've ever seen. Feel the kick, feel the snare. Rubber burning in the air. bass. Pulse of the pavement, knocking on the door, shaking up the foundations from the ocean floor. The 808 is pounding, kicking in the chest, riding on the rhythm, I'm putting it to test. Pulse of the pavement, a heavy, dark machine, the tightest syncopation that you've ever seen. Keep the rhythm, don't lose the beat. Pulse of the street.
Oblivion. I'm sick of the neon, I'm sick of the grid, I'm sick of the things that the syndicate did. The domes are a prison of polymer glass, I'm filling the cylinders full of the gas. I aim at the perimeter, heavy and fast. I'm making a statement that's gonna last. The warning is screaming, do not go outside, but I'm taking the apocalypse out for a ride. The wasteland is toxic, the wasteland is dead, but I'd rather burn out than be chained to the bed. I shatter the boundary, breaking the dome. The radioactive desert is finally home. Oblivion overdrive into the dust, a chariot built out of anger and trust. I'm leaving the system, I'm leaving the code, a suicidal run on a desolate road. Oblivion overdrive, blazing the trail, where all of the logic and circuitry fail. The acid is eating the paint off the door, I press on the accelerator, giving it more. The sky is a canopy painted in rust, a beautiful nightmare of violence and dust. No law in the Badlands, no speed limit signs, just the wreckage of ships and the rusted out mines. I'm a rogue comet burning right out of the sky. I finally learned how it feels to defy. The wasteland is toxic, the wasteland is dead, but I'd rather burn out than be chained to the bed. I shatter the boundary, breaking the dome. The radioactive desert is interstellar night. The windshield is a mirror to the galaxy above, searching for the frequency of a long forgotten love. No more acid rain, no more corporate walls, where the velvet darkness of the universe falls. I'm a pilot of the dreaming, a sailor of the sky, watching all the planets as they slowly pass me by. Synthetic starlight, washing over the glass, watching all the centuries and all the moments pass. A journey to the center of a cosmic purple dream, riding on the ripples of a photon-powered stream. Synthetic starlight, guide me to the end, the only kind of heaven that a rebel can defend. Dashboard is a constellation, glowing soft and blue, telling me the secrets that the ancient masters knew. No friction on the tires, no friction on the soul, losing the perspective and losing the control. I see the rings of Saturn in a halo of the gold, the greatest of the stories that a human never told. I turn the radio to catch a signal from the earth, and realize that the silence is the only thing of worth. Beyond the horizon, into the deep, where the light of millions never goes to sleep. Lost in the stars, home at last. Starlight.
The artificial sun is dipping low behind the glass, a golden hour glowing on the synthetic grass. I roll the vehicle out onto the empty starting line, the architecture reflecting a beautiful design. The sky is turning orange, turning violet and red, the final preparation for the journey up ahead. I calibrate the systems, I check the heavy fuel. I'm ready for the ultimate, the legendary duel. The engine warms its vocal cords, a deep and heavy hum, awaiting the arrival of the cybernetic drum. The strings are swelling upward, lifting off the ground. The city is anticipating the monumental sound. engine calls. The asphalt shakes. Start your engines. Synthetic sunset symphony playing in the air. The majesty of metal, the beauty of the dead. The orchestra of neon is tuning up the strings, preparing for the glory that the final midnight brings. Synthetic sunset symphony, a curtain falling down before we take the ultimate ride across the town. The night is here, the final chapter, symphony. The warehouse is a maze of the ruby-colored light. 1,000 tripwires stretching in the night. If I touch a single beam, the whole place will ignite. So I'm tuning up the steering, keeping everything tight. I creep the chassis forward, a millimeter pace. The most delicate maneuver in the history of the race. The mirrors are retracted, the suspension lowered down. The quietest intrusion in the subterranean town. Calculated angles, physics of the drift. A temporary opening, a monumental shift. I hold my human breath, the engine holds its fire. Dancing on the edge of a cybernetic wire. Laser grid labyrinth threading through the red. One little mistake and I'm automatically dead. A geometric puzzle, a deadly work of art. I'm driving with the rhythm of my own beating heart. Laser grid labyrinth, an elegant escape. Morphing my reality to fit inside the shape. The beams are oscillating, moving up and down. I timed acceleration, erasing every frown. I hit the lateral thruster, sliding to the side. A horizontal movement on a vertical ride. The paint is getting singed by the heat of the array, but I'm pushing through the danger, I'm making out a way. The final door is glowing, 50 yards ahead. I execute a barrel roll and leave the spider web. Calculated angles, physics of the drift. A temporary opening, a monumental shift. I hold my human breath, the engine holds its fire. Dancing on the edge of a cybernetic wire. Laser grid labyrinth threading through the red. One little mistake and I'm automatically dead. A geometric puzzle, a deadly work of art. I'm driving with the rhythm of my own beating heart. Laser grid labyrinth, an elegant escape. Morphing my reality to fit inside the shape. Realization is finally here. I merge with the vacuum, I merge with the Mr. Digital hero who shouldn't exist. One hand on the steering, one hand on the key, set in the heart of the machinery free. Almost there, into the dark. Keep the fire, keep the spark. One more mile. Legend remains. Veteran. Oh. Ah.
The cape is made of shadows, the mask is made of light.
a silent guardian in the middle of the night. No badge upon the chest, just the spirit in the soul, taking the direction and taking the control.
He's racing through the sectors, a ghost inside the grid, proud of every dangerous thing the ancestors did. The city's calling out for a savior in the chrome, finding in the distance a temporary home.
The signals in the sky, the violet glow,
Watching as the energy begins to melt and go.
he's the only answer.
He's the only spark.
Riding like a lightning through the cybernetic dark.
Neon night hero, saving every dream, riding on the ripples of a light-powered stream. A symphony of honor,
A symphony of speed,
fulfilling every animal and every human need. Neon night hero,
the master of the track.
and once he hits the trigger, there is no looking back.
The villains in the towers are shaking with the fear, because they know the legend is finally
He
here.
drifts around the borders, he shatters every gate, taking back the city from the hands of the fate. A horizontal justice, a horizontal flame. Nothing in the history will ever be the same. Stand and fight all the night.
The hero of the highway.
He's the hero of the light.
Save the city. The light returns.
The hero drives on.
Night hero. Night hero. Black matte finish absorbing all the light. I am a shadow moving in the dead of night. The contract is accepted, uploaded to the dash. A high-speed execution for a pile of cash. I track the VIP in the silver limousine, cruising like a king upon the highway scene. He thinks his armor plating is a wall of steel. He doesn't know the terror that I bring. The wheel matching up the velocity, sliding in the blind. I'm the cyber reaper coming from behind. Weapon systems armed, targeting the tire, waiting for the perfect moment for the fire. Alloy assassin striking from the dark, leaving on the asphalt a permanent mark. 100 miles an hour, a surgical strike, taking out the targets on the neon turnpike. Alloy assassin, a ghost in the machine, the cleanest execution that you've ever seen. A subtle flicker steering, I clip the rear and right. The limousine capacity, sliding in the blind. I'm the cyber reaper, coming from behind. Weapon systems armed, targeting the tire, waiting for the perfect moment for the fire. Alloy assassin, striking from the dark, leaving on the asphalt a permanent mark. 100 miles an hour, surgical strike, taking up the targets on the neon turnpike. Alloy assassin, the ghost in the machine, the cleanest execution that you've ever seen. No witnesses, no evidence, just the physics and the violence. Target eliminated. Alloy assassin, striking from the dark, leaving on the asphalt a permanent mark. 100 miles an hour, a surgical strike, taking up the targets on the neon turnpike. Alloy assassin, the ghost in the machine, the cleanest execution that you've ever seen. Fading into black, black, black. Radar clear, clear, clear. Contract closed. Watching as the energy begins to melt and glow. I'm a horizontal titan, a horizontal flare, setting all the static on fire in the air. Kinetic kings, ruling the track. Once we hit the trigger, there is no turning back. A symphony of violence, a symphony of speed, fulfilling every animal and every human need. Kinetic kings, the masters of the flame. Nothing in the history will ever be the same. Peter is sweating, looking into the glass. He sees a transparency making a pass. No engine noise, just a howling of wind. A punishment sent for the racing he sinned. I take the tight corner, no traction required. Driven by forces that cannot get tired. The finish line banner is snapping in two as a translucent vehicle blasts right through. I phase through the barricade onto the track. The legend returning, I'm finally back. The living are shocked by the chill in the air. I drop into gear with a supernatural flair. Phantom apex back from the grave, riding the frequency, surfing the wave. I'm passing the mortals, an immortal machine, the fastest damn phantom that you've ever seen. Phantom apex, reclaiming the crown. I won't let the memory burn to the ground. Death couldn't stop me. Time couldn't hold me. The track is my soul, and the speed is my body. I am eternal. Phantom apex back from the grave, riding the frequency, surfing the wave. I'm passing the mortals, an immortal machine, the fastest damn phantom that you've ever seen. Phantom apex, reclaiming the crown. I won't let the memory burn to the ground. The race is won, fading into the ether. Legend lives on. Cutting through the cables, cutting through the code. A horizontal virus on a high-speed road. The firewalls are failing, the servers are hot. Giving the syndicate everything I got. One hand on the steering, one hand on the key. Setting every captive frequency free. The towers are flickering, the towers are dim. Floating on the edge of the planetary rim. Overload the station, let the sparks start to arc. Lighting up the center of the cybernetic dark. The grid is a prison and I am the flare. A technological rebellion in the air. Circuit breaker, tearing up the grid. Revealing every secret that the masters hid. A short circuit anthem, a short circuit drive. The only way for the data to stay alive. Circuit breaker, shatter the control. Taking back the logic and taking back the soul. The interceptors glitch as I roll through the gate. A master of the optics and a master of fate. I'm washing out the signal, I'm washing out the trace. Winning every poison remains. I'm weaving through the pipeline, a needle in the dark, leaving on the rusty steel a glowing neon mark. The walls are closing in on me, a cold metallic hug. I'm moving like a predator, silent as a drug. No room for the hesitation, no room for a mistake. Just the fluid motion that the master drivers make. Coiling round the corner, sliding through the gap, tracing out the labyrinth on a digital map. The sensors are all blinking a steady shade of red. I'm hunting for the exit that is stretching out ahead. Synthetic serpent, weaving through the steel, the absolute mastery of the steering wheel. Slithering fast through the heart of the grid, doing the things that the law has forbid. Synthetic serpent, cold and supreme, a predator lost in a mechanical dream. Oil on the windshield, flickering in the light. Scale by scale, I'm moving through the industrial night. The interceptors lose me in the tangle of the pipe. They don't have the instinct, they don't have the type. I am the electric cobra, I am the king of flow. Disappearing in the places where the cruisers cannot go. A flash of green and silver, a whisper in the air. I leave them in the darkness with a desperate despair. Left turn, slide. Right turn, glide. Friction is a myth, gravity is a lie. Synthetic serpent, weaving through the steel, the absolute mastery of the steering wheel. Slithering fast through the heart of the grid, doing the things that the law has forbid. Synthetic serpent, cold and supreme, a predator lost in a mechanical dream. Exit found into the night. Serpent out. Catching traction on the dark matter waves, a journey of a lifetime that the solitary craves. The windshield is a viewport to a billion burning suns, where the universal highway infinitely runs. The hood of the car is reflecting the milky white. I'm a navigator cruising in the ultimate of night. No traffic lights to stop me, no intersection jams. Just riding on the wave like the cosmic holograms. I'm linking up the glowing in the blue. I remember all the neon signs that used to look like you. The isolation's heavy, but the freedom is so pure. This interstellar travel is the only kind of cure. I shift the gear to hyper, a streak of silver light. I'm swallowing the distance, I'm swallowing the night. A solitary driver in a chassis made of steel, experiencing exactly how eternity must feel. No traffic lights to stop me, no intersection jams. Just riding on the wavelength of the cosmic holograms. I'm linking up the planets with the glowing trail of red, the greatest driving road that is stretching out ahead. Chrome constellation, painting up the dark, leaving on the galaxy a cybernetic mark. I'm drafting off a comet, drifting round the moon, playing on the radio a classic retro tune. Chrome constellation, shining in the deep, a beautiful velocity that the universe will keep. Connect the stars, draw the line. The universe is yours and mine. Chrome constellation. Chrome constellation, painting up the dark, leaving on the galaxy a cybernetic roar. I'm drafting off a comet, drifting round the moon, playing on the radio a classic retro tune. Chrome constellation, shining in the deep, a beautiful velocity that the universe will keep. Drifting into infinity, cruising the stars. Chrome constellation.
The needle hits the limit, but the engine doesn't break. The physical dimensions are a habit I forsake. The metal turns to vapor, the carbon turns to glass. I watch the heavy burdens of the universe pass. No anger in the cylinder, no vengeance in the tire, just a pure and elevated, beautiful desire. I'm merging with the highway, I'm merging with the air, leaving all the gravity, leaving all the care. The speed is meditation, the velocity is peace. All the human suffering is starting to release. A tunnel made of ivory, a tunnel made of white. I'm shedding all the shadows and stepping in the light. Neon nirvana, opening the gate, rising far above the cybernetic fate. The driver and the vehicle fading into one. A million miles an hour, flying to the sun. Neon nirvana, a spiritual machine, the most elevated state that I have ever seen. The dashboard is a mandala of geometry. drifting through the quiet of the interstellar space. The speed is meditation, the velocity is peace. All the human suffering is starting to release. A tunnel made of ivory, a tunnel made of white. I'm shedding all the shadows and stepping in the light. Neon nirvana, opening the gate, rising far above the cybernetic fate. The driver and the vehicle fading into one. 1,000,000 miles an hour, flying to the sun. Neon nirvana, a spiritual machine, the most elevated state that I have ever seen. Beyond the code, beyond the flesh, the ultimate upgrade, a soul made fresh. Neon nirvana, opening the gate, rising far above the cybernetic fate. The driver and the vehicle fading into one. 1,000,000 miles an hour, flying to the sun. Neon nirvana, a spiritual machine, the most elevated state that I have ever seen. Into the light, total serenity, awake.
The needle's dancing on the edge of the red. I'm living faster than the words that I said. I hit the button and the blue flame roars. I'm breaking through the cosmic heavy doors. The chassis shaking like a heart in a fist. I'm a ghost inside the radioactive mist. I don't need oxygen, I only need the burn. Beyond the point of the accidental return. Pumping the poison, ignition is near. Drowning the logic and drowning the fear. The asphalt is melting, the rubber is gone. I'm holding the trigger and keeping it on. Nitrous overload, screaming in the core. Give me the fire and then give me some more. I'm a bullet of metal, a streak in the night, shattering the limits of the human sight. Nitrous overload, tearing up the soul, losing the gravity and losing control. The world is a tunnel of a distorted light. I'm a predator at speed in the middle of night. The interceptors are a joke in the glass, watching the atoms of the universe pass. My blood is a chemical, a lethal design, crossing the border and crossing the line. If the engine explodes, let it be in a flash. A beautiful ending in a digital crash. Burn the valve, break the seal, feel the power of the will, push it to the limit.
and then give me some more. I'm a bullet of metal, a streak in the night, shattering the limits of the human sight. Nitrous overload, tearing up the soul, losing the gravity and losing control.
Maximum thrust. Chassis disintegrating. Overload.
The artificial sun has finally burned its light, surrendering the city to the longest, deepest night. The maintenance is active on the solar panel dome, giving a quiet moment to the spirits in the home. The cooling fans are slowing, the skyscrapers are dim. We're floating on the water of the planetary rim. I park beside the overlook, I turn the engine off, listening to the silence and the heavy city's cough. The neon signs are resting, the data streams are still, a momentary balance of the architect's will. No sirens in the distance, no racing on the street, just the soft vibration of the motherboard's beat. Silicon solstice, the longest of nights, watching the flickering of the lonely blue lights. The city's dreaming, the city is still surrendering now to the architect's will. Silicon solstice, a winter of the soul, losing the frequency and losing the control. I see the real stars through the cracks inside the glass, watching the ancient constellations slowly pass. We spent so many decades living in the glare, we forgot the beauty of the quiet and the prayer. The dashboard is a memory of a violet glow. Everything is moving steady and so slow. The motherboard is breathing a heavy electronic sigh underneath the canvas of the dark and empty sky. The neon signs are resting, the data streams are still, a momentary balance of the architect's will. No sirens in the distance, no racing on the street, just the soft vibration of the motherboard's beat. Silicon solstice, the longest of nights, watching the flickering of the lonely blue lights. The city's dreaming, the city Solstice.
Catching the wave, a horizontal miracle that we're trying to save.
Synchronized rhythm in the heart of a gear. Everything is perfect and everything is clear. We merge with the signal, we merge with the flow. Watch the entire galaxy begin to melt and glow.
Align the vectors, align the dream, floating on the logic of a digital stream.
100% of the efficiency and grace, winning every battle in the electronic race.
Night stream navigator, cutting through the code,
A master of the movement on the invisible road.
tangled in the rhythm,
Tangled in the light, a beautiful machine in the middle of the night.
night stream navigator,
The spirit of the pure. Speed is the solution and the speed is the cure. Connection locked. The stream remains. Navigator.
stars are aligning in a pattern of blue. A silent confession that is coming for you. I see the reflections in the mirror of time, committing a beautiful and sacred crime.
subatomic motion in the heart of the drive. The only way for the machine to survive. I'm tapping the energy, the pulse of the blue. Navigating corridors and coming for you. The steering is mental, the steering is fast. Designed for a velocity that's built to last. No friction allowed in the vacuum of space. I'm the apex predator of the cybernetic race. Align the vectors, calibrate the stream. Riding on the frequency of a digital dream. The plasma is pumping a river of light. A perfect trajectory in the middle of the night. Plasma pulse racer, cutting the code. A master of the logic on the invisible road. Synchronized rhythm, synchronized speed. Fulfilling the technological need. Plasma pulse racer, a bullet of pure. The only solution and the only cure. I track every particle, I track every trace. Erasing the limits of the time and the place. The world is a calculation, a series of moves. Falling into the center of the electronic grooves. My vision is liquid, my vision is clear. Removing the noise and removing the fear. I am the signal, I am the flow. Watch me accelerate and watch me go. A bullet of pure. The only solution and the only cure. Pulse stabilized, velocity locked. Racer out.
turning back.